Bake with us, Canada. This week's guest bakers are Jessica and Emily from the Cake Box in Kitchener. And this week's recipe is cupcakes.
Welcome to Baking for Change. This is a show where we bring in people who love to bake and share their recipes with us. My name is Karina Cranston, and I'm filling in for Wendy Pauls, in case you're wondering who is this new face on the show. I'm really excited today because I am getting to work with Jessica and Emily from the Cake Box in Kitchener. So they are coming to share with us how to make beautiful cupcakes. So, Jessica, you're the owner of the Cake Box. I would love for you to introduce everybody to yourself and just kind of share a little bit of your story with us.
Of course. Well, first off, thank you so much for having us. We are so excited to be able to show off cupcakes, in which we make in abundance every single day at our storefront on Victoria Street in Kitchener. The Cake Box has been around for almost 20 years. I am the new owner of the Cake Box. The previous owner, Yvonne, retired 2 years ago, so I was very honored to be able to continue her legacy and bring some new exciting things into the shop. This is Emily here, who is not only our customer service person and our front retail person, but she is also my sister. So I was able to steal her to come to work with us, and we love it there. So we're so excited to be able to share this recipe with everybody and get them excited for some cupcakes.
If you would like to bake along with us, you can find the recipe on our website, bakingforchange.ca. So would you like to show us the ingredients that we'll be using today?
Yeah, absolutely. Let's get this started. So I'm just going to be outlining the ingredients that we are going to be using and their measurements. And then Emily here will be showing you in the mixer how to incorporate all the ingredients together. So important thing to have is a stand mixer. If you do not have one of these guys at home, you can absolutely use a hand mixer. So I'll kind of show how those two things can be used, because not everybody has one of these babies. They're pretty expensive, so if you don't have one at home, we got your back. So first thing that you're going to need is 1 1/4 cup of unsalted butter that is at room temperature. This is very important that it is at room temperature, so it incorporates and creams that butter and sugar mixture that we're going to be making. So we're going to put that in the bowl first. And then the next thing that we're going to add is a 3/4 cup of granulated white sugar. And now we're going to put it onto our stand mixer and lock that in with a paddle attachment.
I've never used one of these, so I'm excited to see how it works. It is on my Christmas list.
Yeah, I love a KitchenAid. We use it for a lot at the shop, and I use it a lot at home. So just on first speed, we're going to begin mixing this just to get it started, and then we'll bump it up to about 2 or 3 and really start that whipping. Now that it's been mixing for about 5 to 10 minutes, we're going to turn it off. And what we're looking for here is that it's turned a little bit lighter, almost white. We don't really have that yellowish color anymore. That's what we're looking for. Now we're going to get our dry ingredients prepped. So what you need is a larger bowl and a sifter. And then in there we're going to put our flour, which is, let me double check my recipe, is 1 1/4 cups of flour is going to go in there. So now we're just going to add the baking powder and the salt. And then Emily's just going to sift this all together. That's also going to break up any lumps that is in the flour and help to combine our baking powder and our salt. Perfect. Then she's gently just going to use the whisk here just to give it one final combination. Perfect. And then we'll just set that aside. Now we're going to add our 2 eggs into our creamed butter and sugar. And then we'll just bring this down and give that a mix.
On Baking for Change, we support the work of UNICEF Canada. So please visit our website and consider making a small donation to help us make a change.
So I'm looking in the bowl and I'm seeing that it's not mixing that great. Some parts are good and some parts are a little liquidy.
Yeah, so what's happening is everybody's mixer is going to be different, whether you have a KitchenAid or a Cuisinart. But what's happening is that it's just kind of settling a little bit too much and the paddle can't reach all the way to the bottom. So if that is happening to you at home, the best thing to do is continuing to stop the mixer using a spatula to kind of lift from the bottom and making sure it's incorporating. If you find that it's still kind of settling, you can kind of see it there where the egg isn't really incorporating with that butter, you can use your spatula and just give it a manual stir and kind of force that to go together. Also, if you have a hand mixer at home, you can also do it that way to kind of get it going.
Ideally, a mixer of some sort works.
Ideally, a mixer, it just ensures quality and making sure that everything is mixing really nicely than trying to do everything by hand, and also less of a workout, which we appreciate at the Cake Box. Okay. So now we're just about to do our final mix, so we're going to bring this down and do our final mix up there. Now it's coming together really nice. That mixer to stop there because we're all ready now for our dry and wet ingredients. So we have our dry ingredients ready to go. What we're going to do next is combine our kefir here and our vanilla extract into the same container. Now the kefir that we're using is Organic Meadows vanilla bean. It adds a little bit of extra vanilla flavor and it has probiotics in there. So if anybody's like, oh, cupcakes, you know, hey, there's some healthy stuff in there.
You're justified for your one.
Exactly. If you don't have any kefir at home, buttermilk works as well, or whole milk, which is a great alternative if you don't have kefir. But if you have that, it's a great way to use it. So now we're going to add our dry and our milk by alternating them. So I don't want to add all my dry and then add all of my dairy product in there, so we're going to do it slowly. So right now we're just going to add a 1/3 cup of our dry ingredients into our mixer and start it off on slow speed.
I can smell that vanilla.
It's delicious.
And vanilla bean, you said.
Yeah,
too,
vanilla
right?
bean, yeah. They have a regular like plain, but just that vanilla bean really gives that extra flavor, which is delicious. And then we'll add a little bit of our dairy product there. What we don't want is to combine completely. We want to make sure we're still seeing pockets of flour and our dairy, and then we continue to keep adding. So now we'll add some more of our dry ingredients.
What's the disadvantage of it all mixing together?
It's really easy to overmix this batter. So now some more of our dairy, some more of our dry. If you overmix the batter, what will happen is have a very tough, not fluffy cupcake, which is what we're looking for here. The last little bit of dairy there, and then the last little bit of our dry can just be dumped right in there. Great job, Emily.
Well done.
Thank you.
Amazing. So now what we're going to do, because again what we don't want to do is overmix the batter by waiting for this all to incorporate, because what's happened is some of the flour has stuck to the side. So we're going to stop the machine, we're going to lift it up, then again we're going to give it the famous scrape down, where we're going to scrape down the sides. Now that our beautiful batter is ready to go, we're going to start scooping it into our prepared cupcake tray here. We already have our muffin liners ready to go, and what we have is an ice cream scoop. What we want to do is fill these cupcakes about 2/3 of the way up the liner, and we love using the ice cream scoop as it ensures perfect measure each time. And I should mention that this recipe makes exactly 12 cupcakes. So if you don't get 12, something went wrong on the way.
So while Emily is scooping, I have a question for you about your store. So it's called the Cake Box. So obviously you make cakes.
Yes.
And I'm assuming cupcakes.
Yes.
Can you tell me more about your products that you sell and make?
Sure. So every day, Tuesday through Saturday, are our retail hours, and we sell cupcakes, cake pops, brownies, cookies, meringues, marshmallows, which are made in-house. We also sell coffee, so it's a really great place to come in if you're looking for some sweet treats for an event, or just because you had a bad day. We don't judge. But a large amount of the product that we make at the Cake Box is custom order cakes. So for birthdays, anniversary, weddings especially, we try to custom for all events.
What is the biggest cake that you've ever made?
The largest cake that I ever made was probably a 7-tier cake that I had to, now I'm 6'3", so I'm pretty tall, but I actually had to get up on a chair to finish this cake, which was also covered in sugar flowers. So that was probably the largest cake I've ever made.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
And it was all cake?
It was all cake.
Oh.
They wanted it all real. It was a very large family, and they love cake, so they wanted it all real.
That's amazing. Well done. Thanks. Looks great.
Perfect.
I can't wait to bake that. So our cupcakes are baking in the oven. So what is the next step?
Yeah, so our cupcakes are going to be in the oven at 350 degrees for about 20 minutes. So while that's happening, we're going to be making our buttercream. So the first thing that we're going to do is we're going to put our butter in the mixer, as well as 2 tablespoons of shortening. Some people might be like, shortening, why? Well, I'm going to tell you why. Because the shortening gives a really nice texture to the buttercream, stops it from hardening or crusting, what can sometimes happen right away. And it gives a really nice bite into the cupcake, making sure the icing is really nice and soft. You don't need a lot, but about 2 tablespoons is great for this recipe. So we'll bring the machine down, and while that's whipping, again, we want that to be change in color, get really nice and soft before we start adding our sugar. So a little bit different from the cupcakes where we combine butter and sugar first and we whipped it. Here we just want to whip the sugar and the shortening to make it really nice and soft and ready for our icing sugar.
All you home bakers, we hope that you have been baking along with us. And we would love to see your photos. Take a photo and send it to contact@bakingforchange.ca. We might feature it on the show, on the website, on social media. So send in those photos today.
So now we're ready to start adding our icing sugar. So we're going to add only half of the icing sugar into our butter and shortening mixture. We're going to put that in because if we put it all in right now, it would go absolutely everywhere. So we want to add it very slowly.
So you say stop the mixer, add it, start it again.
Exactly. So that's about half. So now we'll bring it back down and just on first speed, everybody back away. Okay, on first speed and just kind of get that incorporated. Once you see it starting to kind of pick it up a little bit and it's a little bit safer, you can now turn it up to a faster speed. Perfect. So now we're going to add our, while it's mixing, you're going to add your cream.
And that's just regular? Oh, that's the...
This is whole, this is whipping cream, sorry.
Whipping
So
cream,
35% cream. And then we're also going to add our vanilla extract. And that will help a lot of that icing sugar to pick up.
It smells so good.
So now, while the mixer is going, using a smaller, like 3/4 cup or 1 cup measuring, you're going to grab it. Actually, can you put it on first speed? I almost covered everybody in icing sugar. Perfect. And we're just going to slowly start adding in our icing sugar. This is going to help to keep it really nice and fluffy, because if I just dumped it in all right now, it would just kind of all sink to the bottom and get really flat. So just slowly add your icing sugar, let that incorporate. It may take a couple minutes, so take your time with it. We'll make really nice icing. So once all your icing sugar is fully combined at first speed, you're going to bring it up to about 7 or 8, or one of your high speeds, and really let that whip. Again, we're looking for a little bit of a change in color. So right now it's a little bit like on the creamy beige side. We want to whip this until it almost becomes like an off-white. It's been mixing for about, like you said, about 5-10 minutes. It's really nice and fluffy looking, but what we're gonna do is we're gonna add some white food coloring to it. So we're just gonna turn it on just on about a medium speed, and we're gonna add some white just to give it a really nice white base as we're going to be coloring our frosting. So by giving it a nice white base, it'll absorb the color really nicely. And also if you just want to keep it a classic white, it just ensures that nice brilliant color for you. And we're going to transfer it into 4 bowls that we're going to divide with our colors. Now we're just dividing out our icing into the 4 separate bowls in which we'll be adding some colors. This is a great way to incorporate seasonal colors. We're just going to kind of go with a little bit of a fall vibe, or if you have Christmas or a birthday, customizing the colors for your event is a great way to add also decor pieces with some cupcakes. So the colors that we are going to be using today are juniper green, orange, a royal blue, and a really nice peachy pink.
And are those just standard food colors?
Yes, they're all standard food colors, gel preferably. There are a lot of water-based colors out there which are okay to use, but the gel really has a nice concentrate to it and adds a lot of brilliant color without having to use too much. Because if you use too much water-based color, it can affect the quality of your icing.
Okay.
So in each one, I'm just going to add a little bit of color. It would come out. Come on, don't be camera shy. There we go.
What color was that one? Pink?
So that one's going to be the peachy pink. So we're going to go a little deeper and darker with it. And then Emily's just going to give that a stir while I incorporate the other colors. So if you want to give us a hand, you can actually stir that guy with the little butter knife.
I don't know if I've ever stirred with a knife before, but that's pretty good.
We do it a lot at the shop because the butter knives are really nice and strong. A lot of times with the spatulas, we've broken a lot of spatulas in the past. So using a little butter knife, even with the classes that we teach at the shop, I have everybody use a butter knife tool. And it's a tool that everybody has at home. So making sure that everybody has what they need.
Now, you mentioned classes.
Yes.
Tell me more about that.
Yeah, so at the Cake Box, we also have a full decorating room where we teach cake decorating, cupcake, and cookie decorating. We are very excited to bring them back for this fall, as over the summer we had to put a pause on it because we were very busy with our wedding season. But if you are interested or want to learn how to decorate cakes, please have a check on our social media as we're posting weekly with all of the openings for those classes.
That would be fun. Look at these beautiful colors. Good choice. Now, I'm really curious how you're going to get this into these bags, because I find that is not an easy task at home.
Yeah, so what we have here are disposable piping bags. We love these because you can use these tipless. So even if you just want a nice round hole, really easy to frost, you can use it that way. We're going to show you today how to use tips with these bags. We're going to teach you how to do some beautiful floral cupcakes using different assorted tips and designs. So I'm just going to show you how to prep a bag. So we have something like this, it's called a coupling nut. So this tool here unscrews like this so that you can place a piping tip on top. And the reason why we like using these is that means I can use the same bag and constantly exchange the tips out. So if you have assorted tips, all you have to do is unscrew it, take it off, and you can replace it. So we love the coupling nut tool. If you don't have that, but you have large piping tips you would like to use, all you have to do is take the tip, place it in the bag, push it all the way down, but make a little line about 1/2 inch from the top of the tip. You make a little indentation with your nail so that you can find it again with the scissors, give it a cut, and push that tip all the way through. That means your bag is prepped and ready to go.
That's brilliant.
Emily's going to show you, now that your bags are prepped and ready to go, she's going to show you how to fill your bags.
Okay, so
So we use the cup method here. That kind of helps with the messiness of it all. So you'll take your cup, a nice tall cup is good for this, and then stick your hand in, put it in the cup, and then fold the sides of your bag down around it. And that kind of gives you a really good opening. You don't have to hold it open with your hand and then get icing all over your hand and then your face and then your whole body, and then it's a whole thing. But now it's good and clean for you. So you can take some of your icing, stick it in, and wipe off at the end every time. That kind of helps with the mess as well.
Wow.
So what we'll do is we'll do this for all 4 of our colors to kind of get us all prepped and ready to start our decorating. So when you've got all your icing in there, you pull the sides up. And another great thing about this method is that the tops of the bag have remained clean, which is really nice because when you go to start to ice your cupcakes, the icing's not going to come up onto your hands and then kind of make a big mess. So when you're done, you'll notice there's still a bit of empty space here. So you kind of want to shake your bag and be a little hard with it to get all that icing down to the bottom and kind of scrape your way down.
Violence is key.
Yes. And then so you can get it all the way to the bottom, kind of give your top a bit of a twist so the icing doesn't come up at you. And now we have all our 4 bags ready to go for our cupcakes, which I think have just come out of the oven.
They smell so good.
Goodie Goodie is a nonprofit bakery offering training and jobs for refugee youth. And here's some exciting news. If you visit our website, you can find the dates and times for our pop-up bakery, where you can stop in and buy some delicious treats for yourself and support a great cause. The location of our pop-up bakery is Community Christian Reformed Church on Bleams Road in Kitchener. So visit the website today.
I've checked out Jessica's website, Cakes.Cupcakes, and there's a gallery of the cakes and cupcakes that she's done, and they are amazing. She does so much, you do so much fine detail on your cake. So I'm really excited to see how you're going to decorate these today.
Yeah, so the cupcakes have turned out beautifully. It's super important to remember that they need to cool completely. We even suggest once they have cooled to room temperature, putting them in the fridge for a little bit, because what we don't want to happen is to put our buttercream on the cupcakes and then it just melts off. So right now we're just going to be doing like a little bit of a floral and little abstract design using the multiple tips, which I know there's a name for it, but I don't know what the name is. So we're just going to call it a floral abstract. So the first design that I'm going to show is called a simple rosette. We're going to make it look more like a flower. But what we're going to do with our cupcake here is having your hand in a V like this. You're going to place that twist right in there and clamp it shut and give it a twist. And simple rule for the icing: start squeezing when you want it to come out, stop when you want it to stop coming out. Very simple, but for some it's really tricky. So all I'm going to do is I'm going to start squeezing in the center and then just make an O and then cast it off to finish.
Looks like a rose.
Then I have my leaf tip here and my green. I'm doing the same thing. Give it a twist. Just on the side of that flower, I'm going to give a squeeze and then pull away. And then by doing that around the flower, I can add a little greenery feature that makes a really pretty flower. That's our flower. And then the next one that I'm going to show, I'm going to incorporate all of the tips and colors, and it's really freeing and you can have a lot of fun with this, so try not to stress about it. A tiny little rose just in the corner. Using this tip here, which is a little spiky, I'm going to add some little blobs. I'm sure there's a fancier term for that too, but I'm just going to call it a blob.
Kind of like a fancy blob.
Exactly. And then I'm going to use some of my blue and then just make some little tiny little curly cues there. And then you can kind of go in with your green and then add some leaves. Like that.
That looks so good. That took you 30 seconds.
Yeah.
Wow.
I've done this quite a bit, so it really kind of, you know, once you get the techniques down, and there's lots of YouTube videos out there as well that can really slow it down for you and show these techniques and how to have a lot of fun with some piping tips. But we love doing this because it's a great way to, again, incorporate those colors and keep it really free looking.
Wow. So Emily, while Jessica is showing us her masterpieces, I would love to know a little bit about you. So how long have you been working at the Cake Box? What do you do there, and what brought you to that sort of field of line other than your sister?
Yes. Well, my background is in predominantly customer service. So I've only actually been working at the Cake Box for a few months now. I was really looking for a new opportunity, and I really enjoy baking at home. Not as good as my sister, but it's okay. Decorating is something I've really gotten interested in as well. Watching Jessica do these things, it's really hard to not want to be like, I want to do that too. Like, so it's really fun to learn from her, and just to be there for my sister and to be helping with her business is something that is really special to me as well. So yeah, that kind of got me interested in baking and in decorating, is really just watching my sister all these years. Yeah.
So we have these beautiful cupcakes, which I would really like to try, but I feel kind of bad because they're so beautiful. But that's part of the show.
Yes.
And we can't leave here without trying the cupcakes.
Of course.
I've been a little worried about this because I'm not sure how to eat this without getting it all over my nose. So I've heard that there's a trick.
There is a trick. A lot of people may know this. We call it the Queen's way of eating a cupcake at the shop. But basically what we're going to do is take the cupcake, you unwrap it like this. And then in the middle here, you're going to give it a rip.
What?
Then put this on top and it creates a little sandwich. And what happens is that way you can eat it, like it also kind of looks like a tea cake. So that's why we call it the Queen's way. And also going to keep your face really clean, and then you can just bite into it.
That's amazing.
So does everybody want to try that then?
Yes.
Let's give everybody a cupcake. That way I don't have to eat all by myself.
And I would love to try this because it looks so good. So you rip the bottom.
And then just sandwich that on top.
The wimpy blood. This still looks kind of thick.
And then give it a little bit of a pat. Perfect.
It's kind of a shame because it looks so pretty.
And then you can bite into it.
You ready? That icing, there's a few crunchies in it. The icing is so soft. I don't think I've ever had icing quite that soft. This tastes really good.
Thank you.
Delicious.
Some beautifully decorated cupcakes don't taste good. These taste. I'm gonna have another bite.
Me too.
A lot of people, when they come into the shop, they ask us, like, do you get, tired of cakes? And we say, never.
No.
Especially the first thing in the morning when we come in, there's nothing more than we want than a cupcake. Maybe by the end of the day, we're like, if I never have to see a cupcake again, I will be happy. But once we get a good night's sleep and come in the next day, we're always ready for more.
Ready for more. Well, this was amazing. Thank you. I learned some really cool techniques. The reusable piping bags, brilliant. The glitter spray, awesome. And also how to put the icing using a cup in the bags is great. So thank you. I've learned a lot, and I hope you guys have too. So thank you, Jessica and Emily, for coming out and teaching us a new recipe.
You're very welcome.
Thanks for watching, and see you next time on Baking for Change. Special thanks to Karina Cranston and Jessica and Emily from the Cake Box in Kitchener and Community Christian Reformed Church.